Alright, I'm back. I know I didn't get to do my story time. Shit. Anyway. I recently got this story. It was from a listener. And, hello. This listener was telling me about reptilians, that kind of freaked me out because, mind you, I don't like I don't like snakes, alligators, lizards. I'm one of those people, iguanas. I'm one of those people that don't like reptiles. I like turtles. I donated money to the St. Louis Zoo on saving sea turtles. I cut up plastic things so that sea turtles can't get trapped in and get, harmed or anything. And of course I donated money when the BP oil spill where they harmed sea life. I still never forgiven BP, and I never buy anything from BP gas stations, so. But this story, this listener told me, this listener was like, mind you, I'm a skeptic when it comes to reptilians theory. He talked about, he lived in a neighborhood. He kept to himself. He occasionally talked to his neighbors, the busybody lady who always has her nose in everything. I don't like those type of people. And it's bad enough my dad is one of them. My dad knows everything in the gossip. Which is kind of embarrassing. Because I always jokingly said to him, like, why don't you go to Hardee's and, talk, the gossip with the old men and figure out what's going on in the neighborhood and the town and all that. And my dad goes, I ain't like one of them old bastards. And it's like, whatever, dude. But anyway, he one day discovered new neighbors came into town. And these neighbors kept to themselves, which is like pretty much, I'm waiting for one of my neighbors to be like, are you a reptilian? I'd be like, shit, no. And it's always funny. It's always funny when you see neighbors and they keep to themselves. Anytime I see that, I always think that's the good neighbors. When I see neighbors who are like talking to you, walking up to you and talk to you, that's like, that ain't the neighbors I want to be around. Like, my sister, I love her dearly. She will talk to every neighbor in the neighborhood. Who's who, who's what, which one's the tweakers. That's how she always goes. But, sorry, I gotta get to the story. I'm just talking about my own experience with neighbors. I do have a story of my own, which is creepy, but anyway, let's get to the reptiles. So he saw these new neighbors. It was a man, a wife, 2 boys. They go into the house. They have no furniture. He said there was no moving trucks. He said they just weren't packed in the car and they just showed up and moved in. And he said the neighbor always kept to himself. He occasionally tried to walk over and say hi, and the neighbor just looked at him, didn't acknowledge him, just walked into the house. Sounds like me. Like one time someone tried to talk to me and I just sort of ignored them. And they got mad at me, and I once said to him, like, quite frankly, you ain't worth my time in the first place. And I just walked right the fuck in the house. So, mind you, I could be a total dick if I'm your neighbor. Because I don't like talking to people. I keep to myself. I just ignore everybody around me. I just don't give a shit. So, same here. I know, right? We will be the worst neighbors in the block. Just so the guy said like the neighbors acted weird. He said like the next day he saw the neighbor with car packed with trash in the car. That raises a red flag right there in my book. I'm just like, and I asked him like, what kind of, you sure it wasn't like clothes or blankets or, and the guy was like, no, this is trash. I smelled it. I was like, okay. Now, mind you, I don't know the credibility of this man. I don't know if he smoked a little, I don't know. I just sort of looked at it, the story, and I had to share it with the producer of the show, because this was a story that I just couldn't fathom to understand. My story she doesn't know yet, so this is kind of a surprise story. It's a creepy story. Not creepy as this one. So he said it was trash. One day his son, mind you, if I had a son, I'm hoping for a daughter. I don't mind a son, but if my son went over to the neighbor's house, I'd be like, no, you get your ass over here. Those people have trash. You don't go near them. Goes over to see if, make money, cutting grass, which is like a normal thing that in America, I didn't do it. I didn't cut nobody's grass. I'd be like, fuck you, that's your grass, you cut it. I never cut anybody's grass. So, so I cut my own grass. I used to, but now I have a yard where it's like there's no need to cut grass. You just plant a bunch of flower beds, you got it good. Plus I have cats, so I have homeless cats I feed, which are pretty much my cats because I adopted them. I even named them. So he goes over. He says the son went over. He said my son went over. He knocked on the door. The neighbor's son answered. Blocking the door, my son asked, "Do you want to play? Do you want to hang out? I'm currently going over to door to cut grass and make money. Do you want to make some money with me?" And the son's an entrepreneur. I have to give him that. The boy just looked at him. He said, and shook his head no, and closed the door. Blocking the door, my son saw on their table were all meat, and they were eating it. Shit, that raises red flags. And he saw a single mattress on their floor. No furniture. Besides a table and chairs. No TV. Why did he put no TV? I mean, I love TV as much as the next person, but, some people are Amish. I think. I don't know. Do Amish people watch TV? I don't know. I don't know if Amish people watch TV. And the boys shut the door. My son thought they were weird. No shit. The next day, or I should say night, I was at a grocery store, and I was buying stuff for my house. And I saw the man who was my neighbor. I saw his cart filled with steak, hamburger, and any kind of meat he could put in the cart. I jokingly started to make a conversation with him, saying, "You're making a barbecue?" And the man hissed at me. not said anything, hissed at me. Like, this one made me laugh. And I said to the producer, I said to her, my Catwoman is the producer of the show. I said to her, like, if we were ever in a store and I saw one of my neighbors and I tried to make a joking conversation, which hypothetically would never happen, and he hissed at me, I would say to you, we're getting the fuck out of this neighborhood, because that dude just hissed at me. We're getting out of here. That's what would happen if someone hissed at me. I'd be like, we're packing the shit, we're getting the fuck out of this neighborhood. This is crazy. Who hissed at someone? You could have just said, you couldn't have even said anything. He could have just said, no, we're just stocking up. Which is normal to stock up on stuff. But he just hissed at me. What the fuck? So, that one always freaked me out. Like, that always freaked me out. If someone hissed at me, which, by the way, if you ever go on YouTube, type in CNBC reporter hisses, or CNBC reporter reptilian, there's a guy who actually, let me find a clip. Hold on. I gotta hook up the laptop. I'm gonna hook up the speakers and all that, because it's a pretty short video. And I don't know if this guy was like doing the Silence of the Lamb clearly. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but this dude just hiss. I should have titled this episode The Hissing Reporter. I gotta hook up the wires real quick. Hold on. Someone hissed at me, I'd be like, in the fuck out of this neighborhood. Who hisses at somebody? That is just like the weirdest shit. Anyway. There we go. Reporter hisses. CNBC Joe Kerman hisses at guests. Alright, mute it. There we go. Turn up the speaker.
Can we buy a Chinese firm?
No, not right now.
Then why should they buy one of ours?
Why not?
Because we can't buy one of theirs. Open up the market.
Very, very well.
Yes, we have capitalism and we embrace.
Like, what the fuck was that? And he hisses at the dude. Then he goes like, yeah, this is fucking normal. I just hissed at that dude. And this reporter, they show a next clip of a reporter, the camera, either her or the camera looks fucking weird. It's like, it looks like her face is melting. And it's so weird. Like, everything about it, like, so he said, like, the woman, he said, the woman, the wife, the mother of the, the kids and stuff, said that one neighbor spotted her running through their backyard, chasing a cat, and her wig came off. Now, mind you, this could be like, medical thing. I don't know. But,